think, Letty? You gonna start this video for me? You give me a big what's up, Rad Potential YouTube. You're Letty the dog and I'm Mr. Rad. Yep. What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? I'm Mr. Rad, and in today's video, we're gonna be comparing the Series 1 Mazda RX-8 Shinka to the Series 2 Mazda RX-8 R3. In 2009, they did a little facelift, changed a bunch of stuff, and I want to try to find all the little differences because, you know, you guys are sitting there strapped in ready for the most cinematic video ever, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out, as the resident RX-8 guy, really what's different between these two cars. So let's learn some stuff, and hopefully we'll have a better understanding of maybe which one you would want to pick up. So first things first, we're just going to start with the outside of these two cars. Now, this red car, we just bought it. It is a 2010 RX-8 R3, which gets you some really special stuff. And this is a 2005 Mazda RX-8 Shinka, which also gets you some super special stuff. Not incredibly different from a base model RX-8. You know, like a Z06 Corvette has a giant engine and everything's different, and the aesthetics. These are mostly just aesthetics and some little performance bits. So let's look at the outside of both of them and kind of point out some neat things. Series 2, the front end, a little bit different here. Looks more like a Mazda Speed 3, or maybe the Mazda Speed 3 looks like this car. The Series 1 gets you your traditional RX-8 nose. Now this car is a super rare color. It is black cherry mica. Very rare, Shinka only color, I think 05 and 06, and it doesn't really show off the front of an RX-8 very well. It's kind of like having a black car. They look really good, but you don't see a lot of the body lines. Whereas on this red car, this is Velocity Red, one of the most popular RX-8 colors, very common, and you can really see all of the different Series 2 bits on the front. So going back to the Shinka, a couple of the really special things that you do get on a Shinka specifically, these little vent trim things right here for the fenders. You get specialty chrome OEM wheels, which is rad. I don't really know how you could recreate that color, but that color is kind of the same theme throughout the car. So notice the trim here, the stainless trim, the wheels match it. This car, these aren't Shinka specific, but it does have these little mud flaps on it. And I think it did have mud flaps in the rear, but they're just not installed at the moment. They look similar to that. I'll throw a picture up on the screen right now for you. Looking even closer, the most special part of the Shinka is this right here. It literally just says Shinka. This panel here kind of comes off the car. If you notice on the R3, it does not say R3. So your typical stock RX-8 would just have a matte black section like this, which looks really nice, kind of makes it, you know, gives it that faux Grand Coupe big two-door thing going on here when you don't have the B-pillar painted into the door. Coming around the back of the car, I don't think there's anything special on a Shinka, like the badging or anything. It's just standard badging. Nothing too crazy, really, at all, you know, elsewhere. I think if you got a touring Shinka, you would get the same lip that I have on my green car, which is pretty rad. They look really nice. They're painted to match. And then also the touring would get you the little side spat here. So the exterior of a Series 1, pretty basic. You know, there's options without a wing or with a wing. Otherwise, very simple setup. Now, this car and that car, production numbers. They made 180,000-ish RX-8s total. Only 11,000 of those were Series 2 RX-8s, meaning 2009 to 2011. And then only, I believe, plus or minus 1,000 of them, of the Series 2s were R3s, and I think there's 2,500 Shinkas. Now, that's what Mazda said they would produce, and then they would only sell up to that amount of units, and I don't think they fulfilled all of their allocation, if that makes sense. So I think there's 900 and something R3s, and maybe like 2,300 or something Shinkas, but the Shinkas range 2005 and 2006. The R3 you could get 2009, 2010, 2011. The craziest thing, I don't know the production number on this, but James told me, who I bought this car from, there's only 147 red R3s in 2010. So I'm bringing out my inner Corvette guy, speccing it down to the color and everything. So looking at the exterior of a Series 2, it's the same, but totally different. You've got the whole front end revised to that new Mazda setup. The front lip, this is the R3, so it's more aggressive. The whole bumper's different. The shape of the bumper in here is all different. I'll put a standard Series 2 on the screen for you. R3 has the HIDs. The Mazda wing is embedded into the bumper on this, and it's a lot bigger. Notice the little bezel there. So you can't really like shave the Mazda wings off. On a first generation RX-8, you just take the badge off and it's smooth. Black plastic here versus the hollow grille on the Series 1. And then I love this. They really refined the oil cooler vent here, and you get a ton more surface area on the oil cooler. The Series 1's kind of notoriously, the oil cooler ducting is great for the street, but on the track, less than ideal. You'll have hot oil cooler temps. Notice the fog light. The fog light kind of blocks some of that oil. And at the same way, it does block it here, but they integrated it into the bumper and raised it up. R3 little lip thing. This is attached to the bumper, I believe. So don't tear those up. They're pretty rare. Moving down the side of the car, we've got the same mirrors, Series 1 to Series 2. I don't notice a difference. The fender is different. We have the little side marker here versus in the front. We've also got the R3 specific skirts that go down the side. What do you think, Letty? Would you choose a Series 1 or a Series 2? Could you comment below? Tell everybody on the camera to comment below. Oh yeah, I don't need any face licks. Sorry, you lick your butt with that mouth. There you go. Okay, get down. I gotta continue working. So Series 1 or Series 2, comment below as we go through this. The side skirts are R3 specific. Like I was saying, I think the Series 1s definitely have that little half spat. And if you're lucky enough to get a Mazda speed car, I don't think really like Mazda sold Mazda speed RX-8s like they sell a Mazda Speed 3 that comes with a turbo. Like there was never a turbo version of an RX-8, but I know the Mazda Speed side skirt emulates the R3 side skirt or vice versa. And you can put this side skirt on a Series 1 car as well. Coming around to the back, we have another major change. The whole rear end is different. So notice the bumper shape is different, tail lights are different, the trunk is the same, the wing is different, a little bit different shape, a little bit sharper edge. The exhaust tips are lower. So the cutout for the exhaust is almost the same. If you look over there, almost the same but different. And through here, you can see they brought the paint down a lot lower instead of that black trim that always fades. And then I think this line right here is a little more rounded versus on this, they just blend this in like a little blob. So here's your direct comparison. The back of a Series 1, rotor shaped for the light. And I just found out that for Series 2s in the UK, i.e. Europe, elsewhere, they have a really sweet rotor-shaped rear fog light, and I'd love to get one. So they have a rotor-shaped thing that goes down in here, which is sweet. But the rear, it's plus or minus the same. I was really torn, which one I liked better until kind of being around the Series 2 just a little bit more, because I do like that the paint goes lower. I kind of struggle on a Series 1. Matt, the owner of this car, has done a really good job of getting this black plastic to really shine up and match the black cherry. Like you don't see this as gray, faded nastiness like they are on most cars that sit in backyards, but kind of like this. This is typical RX-8 rear trim color. So, but that's the basic exterior. It's comment below. Is the exterior worth it? There literally is only 10,000 or 11,000 Series 2s total. So it's not like you have 170,000 Series 1s to choose from. These Series 1s are just, they're out there. They're everywhere. You can find them for very cheap. It's very hard to find one of these. So let's move to the inside. The famed extended cab sports truck. RX-8 always got a tow strap. This is a really good car. I don't know why there's a tow strap, but the RX-8 is rescuing other broken cars, like Subarus. You can rescue Subarus with your RX-8 because we trump them in reliability. So looking at a Series 1, interior, the Shinka is rad. Got a lot of cool stuff going on in here for the Shinka, which I'll point out to you. So first things first, the leather wrapped e-brake handle. My favorite part of every special edition RX-8 is the shift knob. They have white background shift knobs. Look at that. Shinka white background. While we're in the center, notice the radio trim here for the HVAC knobs is chrome. Also notice that the cluster trim is chrome and that your vent trim is chrome. So your special edition cars got that chrome. That 40th anniversary that we just picked up has all that chrome stuff in it. As far as the Series 1 specific things in here that you'll see different in the Series 2, old school steering wheel, also a cracked dash. That comes standard on every RX-8, and the radio stack is a little bit different as well. So Shinka-wise, we got this sweet tan leather interior. They have a really cool like ivory cloth one as well that transitions into the doors, rear seats, the whole deal. Little stink bug. Also, sunroof, which is cool. HomeLink mirror has the buttons to control garage doors. Most of your RX-8s are going to come with Bose sound systems. You're going to see the tweeters here, and there's actually an 8-inch subwoofer in both front doors, which is rad because the sound system in these cars is banging. So that's cool. And then also leather-wrapped center console cover, and then a leather-wrapped rear center console cover, which is super cool. You can see the wear. Look at this. That looks brand new. That's had a lot of arm sweat on it. Sick. So that's your Series 1 RX-8 interior overview. I'll just go ahead and pop the hood too. This is a cinematic masterpiece, guys. You have to comment below the level of cinema in this thing, this video we're working on now. Series 2 interior, fresh with a Dr. Pepper can and a cracked dash. And this is where y'all are gonna hate me because, well, this car actually has the not Recaro R3 interior in it, which is why I could afford to buy it. So these are Series 1 base cloth seats. These are Series 1 leather rear seats. That is a Series 1 base center console. You are also going to notice that this right here is a non-leather wrapped center console lid, and that the rear one is a non-leather wrapped center console lid. You're also going to notice too, this has standard base leather door cards. Now, why does it have all of that stuff? Well, because this car came at a price that was bring your own interior and bring your own wheels, meaning it does not have the sick Recaro interior in it. I will put pictures of it on the screen. It's beautiful. However, you'll see in a future video what I'm doing with this car, and I don't need the Recaro interior, nor do I particularly fit in it that well. So, for y'all, the interior is completely interchangeable. You can take the door cards off of Series 1, put them into Series 2. It all plugs in, everything works. Same with the seats. If you find a crashed R3 with the awesome Recaros, pull them out, put them in your Series 1. Vice versa, you can do whatever you want. So, basic interior is the same. Where things get different. The steering wheel. This is the later model steering wheel. It looks sick. The R3s also have like a red stitching in them, and it's leather. Mint. Love that. Didn't notice that was a thing until I drove the car here for this video. In addition, you have a whole different dash. The shape of it's different. Everything is different. They still come standard with a cracked airbag cover. That's normal. They roll out of the factory that way. The mirror shape is a little different, and obviously the radio is entirely different. Now, this car would have had, notice, it's got a Series 1 shifter. It still has a Series 2 transmission, which we'll cover when we get to the driveline stuff, but the reverse in this car is on the opposite side. So it's down, left, and up. On a Series 1, it matches this shift pattern where reverse is out and back to the right. Also, the leather handbrake lever is missing too, but that's okay. We can deal with that. The coolest thing about this, and I drove it here, so you won't be able to see it, but it has these fancy credit card keys, all right, which I'm really not too stoked on, but you know, trunk pop, does it even work? Come on. Okay, trunk popper doesn't work on the key, no big deal. Maybe it's already popped. There we go. Got distracted by the trunk popper, but the credit card key, so there actually isn't a key. You turn this little knob looking thing. Let me see if I can get in here and show you. Cinema right here, look at this. So this little knob thing, it operates just like a key, but it's not a key. So behind it, you can actually pop this cover off like this. It just has these two little buttons. And then, say your fob's dead, you slide the key out, there's a little key inside your credit card, and then you can turn the car on with that. So, an interesting thing. I'm just gonna click that back on. Now, the dash is different. Okay, so I'll power this up. Things are gonna start beeping. The dog's not gonna be stoked, or she's already thrilled that we're hanging out here and it's cold. Key this baby on. All the warning lights. Notice this little red line right here, that digital red line will come down to about 5,000 when this engine is cold. And as it warms up, it goes away. Kind of a neat little nuance. I think the BMW M3s have something like that, which is super cool, like an E46 M3. Also, you just have dummy gauges, okay? They did away with the oil pressure gauge, and you just have a coolant temperature gauge and fuel, and that is it. And in a Series 1, that oil pressure gauge actually is not even a gauge at all. It's simply an oil light. So there's a 2-wire sensor on the engine. When it sees oil pressure, the gauge just goes to the standard spot. There, it doesn't actually go up or down. When you rev it, it doesn't change. It's just like, we have oil pressure, keep driving. That's it. On this car, I think they switched that to a simple oil light. There's a lot of mechanical things that are kind of different on the engine in a Series 2. But otherwise, you know, direct comparison, the cluster shape looks the same. This section looks the same. R3 gets the chrome. The DSC, all this stuff looks the same. The ashtray looks the same, which most people don't even know that there's 2 ashtrays. You have one over here, and then you have one in the middle. The HVAC and radio stack's completely different. And my hot take, after driving this for a few days, this radio and center console looks way more dated than a Series 1. This looks like, you know, early 2000s Infiniti G35, like push buttons, just kind of a mess, whereas the Series 1 radio stack just looks a lot cleaner, in my opinion. Just my opinion. Comment below. Are we right or wrong? No sunroof in an R3, which is sick. And that's the basics of a S1 versus S2 interior. I don't think the buttons are different. I really don't think much else is different. I think it's pretty much, it's like the same, but a little bit different. And the little keys are annoying. Pop the hood. It's a 10-minute car. So now, the engine, the moment we've all been waiting for. As I trip over my dog. You're going to tell us all about Renesis engines, Letty? You've probably supervised more Renesis engine teardowns than most people watching this video. Fun fact. Because she's a shop dog and hangs out. Come on, there we go. Okay. This is the famed stock, bone stock Renesis engine. And the main reason I'm using this car, Matshinka, is because it is stock. All my cars are modified, so I couldn't really do a comparison between a modified car and then a stock R3. But from here, you're not really going to be able to tell that much is different, okay? You're going to notice a few little things, like on the intake manifold, there's no oil separator catch can kind of setup that brings all those hoses and connects these little nipples over here. Super detailed thing. It does help. I think that's an 06 and up kind of deal. This car has the air pump removed. Simple emissions, you know, you can remove it. It's perfectly fine, really, without it. This has a cat delete with a hammer and an aftermarket HKS exhaust on it. Now, this car isn't loud, but like that just helps liven them up a little bit because the stock exhausts, 1, are super heavy. They're like 60 pounds, and 2, they're Prius level quiet. So other than removing the engine cover, which looks like that over there, this is what this looks like. Very boring. The engine is actually behind the axle in these cars if this is your first RX8 pop the hood experience. And notice the oil filter is way down here. Way down there, like down in the bottom. Okay? And that's kind of annoying. You really got to bury your hand in there. You cut your finger every time on this clutch line bracket. It's a pain in the butt. Just annoying oil filter location. And when you fill your oil filter up to prime it and flip it over, it just dumps all the oil all over the ground. So it's kind of annoying. Other than that, it's still a 1.3 liter Renesis. The Series 1 cars, all right, this is going to get technical, so strap into your couches. The Series 1 cars have 2 oil injectors per rotor housing, okay? The Series 2 cars have 3 oil injectors per rotor housing. The Series 1 car, the oil metering pump is on the front cover. On a Series 2 car, the oil metering pump, it actually has 2 of them, and they are on top of the engine up under the intake manifold. It's kind of weird and complex. As far as other differences, performance-wise, I do believe they are about the same. These are rated at 231 horsepower from Mazda. I've never seen one make over 200 to the wheels. Fully modified, tuned, the whole deal. So if you have one that made 200.1 horsepower and you have a dyno pull, a video of it to prove it, comment below, tag me, I want to see it. Because we just have never been able to get one over. Ernie, anybody I know, they're just kind of underwhelming. Like 198 horsepower is about the peak. On a Series 2, I'm going to pop the hood. You're going to be so stoked that this is different. It's not even funny. You're going to jump off your couch. It's going to be great. All right. Hood prop installed. Notice, it looks totally different. to my trained eye. So in here you have the triangulation strut brace, which is cool. I found out that's a Series 2 normal thing, not an R3 thing. This is what your air pump looks like. So this empty space on this Series 1 over here, notice that's what would have been there. You have your oil dipstick is up a little higher. You can see the PCV system is different here, and let me grab my flashlight. Are you learning something, Letty? No? Letty's over it. Notice those ports down there on the engine. There's some extra hoses right here on this intake. And that's because they updated some PCV stuff. You would get a little bit of oil residue in your intake right here when you're like tracking and ripping on the car hard, which is basically all the time because you can be 100% TPS in an RX-8 and never get a speeding ticket. Which leads us to the power plant. It's the same basic engine, guys. So this is a 6-port. That's a 6-port. There's 3 oil injectors on this one. That's basically the only difference. Compression is the same. The red line's the same. I think the rotating assembly is the same. I've never seen somebody like specifically target a Series 2 rotor ever. So the RX-8 rotor is the same rotor. The housings, like I said, are different, and I'm pretty sure the irons are different as well. In what way? I don't know. I've never torn a Series 2 engine apart and directly compared it to a Series 1. Now I rebuilt, Gears and Gasoline's R3 engine, and that thing's still ripping, but that was just rebuild it in a couple days and put it back together. I didn't like compare it to something else. So as far as the rest of the engine bay, the coolest part of an R3 is that, or I guess a Series 2, notice there's no oil filter. Where did they put it? I couldn't find it from the top, but the oil filter is on the bottom of the front cover. It's like down here under the AC kinda. And then this Series 2, I'll have to just put pictures of it because I will not put this on a lift and show you the bottom of the car for the sake of Massachusetts. But the oil pan, the oil system is completely different on a Series 2. That oil filter is in the front, the oil pressure regulator is in the front cover is all different with how the oil cooler lines come off of it, the oil filter's integrated in there, and this has a cast aluminum oil pan that is, it's weird, it has wings, it's a totally different shape. I will throw pictures of it on the screen, but that's the main difference in the engine side. Mr. Advertisement here with a brief interruption and some good information that I forgot to include in the video. Let's talk swapping engines, harnesses, standalone ECUs into your RX-8s. Because we have both of them here, I can tell you which one's gonna be easier and where you can get the parts for the guy who wants to swap an LS or a K-Series or a different 13B or any sort of standalone ECU into an RX-8. So first things first, you gotta hit up tunedbyshawn.com. It's currently Black Friday. Not only can you use the code MrRad5 to get 5% off anything on Tuned by Shawn's website, you can use my code and Haltech, any of his brands that are doing a Black Friday sale, you can compound the codes together to get an even bigger discount. So support those who support us. Now, a bit about the products that are on sale on Tuned by Shawn's website, right? First things first, Haltech makes a plug-and-play ECU for these cars. Only for the Series 1, not for the Series 2. You're gonna find that the rarity of the Series 2 in this aspect, like tunability and having fun and swapping engines, makes this very hard to swap. So they make a plug and play for a Series 1. On that Haltech plug and play, you can install it. You can run a Renesis, you could run a Turbo 2 rotary, you could run an FD RX-7 rotary, all of that on the plug and play ECU. It's a rotary specific 2-rotor ECU, but you can change the engine, put a turbo on it, do whatever you want. The other thing that Shawn offers is he has a harness that plugs in to the factory ECU location that then lets you run any standalone ECU and have full chassis integration into the car. Like my green REW swapped car, I have that little panel that covers up the power steering and that plug-in. It goes inside, the ECU's under the dash. With that setup, you could do a Haltech Rebel LS, do your LS swap, plug and play harness. It goes right in, you have Tuned by Shawn's harness, you put like 20 wires together, it's super easy. When you buy his harness, he'll like walk you through how to do it and set up the tune. I just saw Haltech came out with a JZ, like plug and play harness, the Rebel JZ. And it's a super nice budget JZ or LS specific ECU. You know, it's kind of locked into running just those engines, but that lets them get you that ECU at a good price. Both of those setups, super easy to integrate into your RX-8 with that patch harness from Tuned by Shawn or the plug and play ECU if you're keeping it rotary. So with that, go check out TuneBySean.com, Mr. Rad 5. It's Black Friday right now. Support those guys who support us. It's huge having Tune by Sean as a partner. He has helped me out a ton with the green car, getting all the chassis stuff integrated, and just learning a lot about tuning when it comes to CAN bus and integrating into like a modern car chassis versus doing a swap into a 66 Chevelle with an LS that has like 4 wires to make the whole thing run. So the last thing, this is the information part. Mr. Radvertisement is gone. Mr. Radformation has showed up. The reason that there isn't a lot of support for a Series 2 car is because there's only 10,000 of these. There's not a huge market for figuring out the CAN bus to be able to integrate a standalone ECU into the chassis. Now you can make it happy and piggyback and do all sorts of weird stuff. I would not recommend that. I like it to be more cut and dry, sustainable, serviceable, the whole deal. If you guys blow up the comments below, tag Tune by Sean in the comments. If there's a good amount of you that are willing, pony up the cash, you want to see a Series 2 swap available, meaning a CAN bus solution to make this integrate like factory, blow up the comments. Sean said that if we have enough people, he would be willing to figure it out. It might be a little complex, but we could REW swap an R3 if we, get enough people to do it. So go in the comments below. Lots of commenting on this video on whether you like one or the other or this, that, and the other. I don't know. The mystery advertisement is out. We're going back to learning about Series 1 versus Series 2s after that little Mr. Rad data point. Connected to the engine is the transmission, and the reverse is in a different spot, but also the transmission is different. The Series 2 transmission is bigger. People say it is stronger. I've seen both of them break behind stock RX8 engines. This one is like a Eisen box. I think it's the same as a S15 6-speed. This one, I have no idea where it comes from or whatever, but it is giant compared to this car. Now, the gear ratios are the exact same between both of them. The dimensionality of it, besides the girth, is the same. So you can swap a Series 2 transmission into a Series 1 or a Series 1 into a Series 2. They directly bolt in. Everything plugs in. Shifter and everything is the same. They just like the shifters in a different, reverses in a different spot, but the drive shaft, everything will work. Clutch will work, the whole deal. It's just the transmission itself is like bigger. So I believe, aside from what I have heard, and y'all can confirm in the comments below, the undercarriage of these two cars. Everything dimensionally, I think, is the same. What I've heard is different is that the rear subframe geometry of the R3 or your Series 2, at least I know for the R3 I've seen this, so I don't know if the Series 2 is the same, but I don't know why they'd change it, that they changed the suspension geometry. Now in a future video, we'll probably get under this car and check that out because I want to understand it and see if it would be an upgrade for a Series 1 to change that. But looking under it, it doesn't look extravagantly different. Okay. The other thing that both of these cars have, you get this with special edition RX8's. Both of these cars have foam, like urethane-filled subframes, which takes a little bit of the creakiness out, adds some chassis rigidity to these cars. Now, I've never taken a Shinka subframe out. The 40th has these subframes as well, so we'll pull the subframe out of that car, maybe cut it open, or see the foam that's inside of it. But both of these cars have that. It's kind of a unique thing for the special RX8s that, like, most people don't see or know, like it's the subframe filled with foam. It's not that special, but it is special, I guess. I don't know. I'm not that worried about it. Driving both of these, I can't tell a difference, and I drive lots of RX8s. So, something neat. As far as that goes, that is everything. That is the most cinematic Series 1 versus Series 2 comparison video you're ever going to see. Now, I'd go drive these cars together, but honestly, you're not going to feel a difference on camera. They're both great driving stock RX8s. This one has a little bit of an exhaust note, so you hear it, you get some flameness. This one has a little bit of an exhaust note because it has an exhaust leak due to rust, and, it sounds great. But that's the Series 1 versus Series 2. Is it worth it to buy one of the rare Series 2 RX8s? In my opinion, no. From the perspective of I am a tinkerer, meaning I like to mess with my car and play with things and have stuff to modify, a Series 2, you cannot do much with these cars. The ECU stuff, you can tune it with a VersaTuner, but you can't put a Haltech in that car. The engine itself, performance-wise, is basically the same. I know the oil metering pump stuff and the oil filter stuff's different, but does that make the car run another 100,000 miles? Honestly, no. I see Series 2 RX8s broken about the same amount as Series 1 RX8s are. Still more reliable than Subarus. But I don't really think it's worth it. Now, is it worth the aesthetic? Okay, I personally didn't really like the Series 2 look, but now having the R3, I think the R3 look looks good. It's hard for me with body kits and stuff on RX8s. I just kind of like the more OEM-esque stuff. Like the Mazda Speed looks good, the R3 looks good. It's just my taste, and that's an opinion. You might have a different one, you know? Tell me in the comments below. Do you like the Series 1 look or the Series 2 look better? Like whoop-de-doo. That ultimately doesn't mean one or the other is necessarily a better car. Now, I will say, Mazda obviously improved it. So, on paper, the Series 2 is a better car. But for you, as a buyer of a this car is 15 years old, guys. 2010, that's 15 years ago. As a 15-year-old project car, one of them is not better than the other, I would say. That's just my opinion. Roast me, that's my opinion. I personally think this is the Series 1 is a way cooler car to work on. It's way easier to work on. There's more parts available. You can find cheap Series 1 chassis. If you stuff it in the wall, you can get a bunch of parts for it. It's just easier. So that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. So with that, I hope you guys learned something. I definitely learned some stuff just sitting here looking at these two cars next to each other. And it's just wild to like, unless we go to Deals Gap or 7 Stock, you really don't see RX8s on the road anymore. And it's cool to see the differences parked, 3 feet away. So with that, live a life you don't need a vacation from and keep it rad. We'll see you guys in the next one. It's wild to me that like, complex. Boring. I don't know. I will say, this R3 is a pretty good car. It doesn't have the special wheels that come on it, which I forgot to mention, but I just realized that now. However, they would have 19s, little BBS 19s. They look pretty cool. Put a picture up on the screen. I don't know. It's going to be a shame to see this R3 in a different color, or maybe with an REW swap and a giant turbo. I don't know. Decisions.